A lot has really happened, picking from the weekend, and in studio to help me have this particular conversation, I'm having a panel of two, a balanced panel. That, a lady and a gentleman. I'll begin from my far left there, Gloria Orwoba. Gloria is a youth policy analyst, and of course an aspirant in
Bobasi constituency.
I must add that. And of course we have Willy. Willy is a politician, and of course has a lot when it comes to governance and leadership. Thank you so much, Willy, for creating time for us. Willy, Kamau.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, we want to talk about the state of politics in the country. And right now, let me just begin from, what happened and characterized the weekend. It was a weekend of conventions, I must say. We saw the Jubilee Party have their own National Delegates Conference. We saw the Orange Democratic Party also have their own National Delegates Conference. But that aside, what really, culminated both events was when Jubilee Party and ODM and the One Kenya Alliance publicly declared their intention to work together ahead of the 2022 general election. I'd like to get your quick comments about the activities that shaped the weekend. I'll start with you, Willy, then Gloria can also chip in.
All right, asante sana, Saf. I was very lucky to be here on Saturday among the panelists of the guys who are analyzing the event. And you remember we had a conversation about Kalonzo in Oka.
What do you take of Kalonzo's move to unleash, let me use that term, this document from 2017 April? Does it hold any water under the current agreements in the Azimio la Umoja movement?
All right. I feel Kalonzo has refused to move on, to evolve politically in terms of his political character. But in terms of numbers, the Kalonzo of 2017 is not the Kalonzo of 2022. Remember, in 2017, he had the three governors, all the aspirants in Ukambani behind him as the kingpin of Ukambani. But today, the three governors of Ukambani have preceded, or rather they have proceeded to join Raila, who is already on that side, and Kalonzo is stuck to past agreements. It is time for Kalonzo to evolve, because the Raila of 2017 is not the Raila of 2022. Same goes to Uhuru, same goes to William Ruto. The William Ruto of 2013, 2017 is not the William of... All of these people have evolved politically, and I think it is time for Kalonzo to count his past losses and now fix his eyes on the possibilities of what the future holds for him, because that might cost him big. Because news is not for Kalonzo to support Raila. News, what would make it to the headline is if Raila steps to support Kalonzo, which will not happen because of the implications of politics, because politics is about numbers. I would think Raila is a national figure who has a few regional blocks behind him, but Kalonzo has only a regional block, which is not even sure right now, because he has already had the three governors from his region supporting Raila as we speak. And so it is time for him to just count his losses, past losses, and move on.
All right. Gloria, it's a legal document. Kalonzo has kept on underscoring that fact. I mean, there are no repercussions, there are no consequences if it is breached.
You know, the only thing that we have gotten from this press conference that Kalonzo Musyoka has actually called is that he's just reminding us that the likes of Raila Odinga have always been deceitful. It is just a realization, maybe some sort of evidence for those who still believed in Raila Odinga, that listen here, this is a deceitful person, because Kalonzo is holding a document to substantiate his allegations of having, it is time for him to be backed. And he's saying, we even signed a legal document. That's one thing. But on the other side, he's referencing an organization, an entity that does not exist. He's referencing NASA. Just as he has said, NASA is dead. So even if you come with all the legal agreements that you as an individual signed with NASA, yourself, you're saying NASA is dead. So within this arrangement that we have now of Azimio, of Kenya Kwanza, of One Kenya Alliance, why are you bringing a document from NASA that is dead, that actually you walked away from and got paid for walking away from it? Because you got paid for walking away from NASA.
We cannot do that. Yes.
So the point is, the point here is, if I was Kalonzo, and I understand that it is a negotiation, he's trying to negotiate to use, let me say, intimidation and bullying tactics of now, I will go and tell people how deceitful you guys are. We already know that the ODM people are deceitful, so there's no news there. We already know that he was played, there's no news there. So what Kalonzo needs to understand is that he has no option. if he really thinks the last time the Kamba community was in government was really when Kalonzo went it alone the whole way, and after that he signed a post-election pact with Kibaki. That's the last time when the Kamba nation was actually in government. So if I am Kalonzo Musyoka, I should say, okay, let me go it alone. And another thing, hii madharau unaona akionyeshwa, and I don't understand why he doesn't see that. Because there's that madharau ameambiwa amechukua pesa, he can see how the principles of Azimio or One Kenya Alliance are treating him. He should understand there's no room for him there. But he needs to go alone. And if he doesn't go alone and he joins Azimio, he needs to understand that all the small parties in Ukambani, we are talking about Maendeleo Chap, Sijui Muungano Party, and even NAC. If Kalonzo actually joins Azimio, these smaller parties will win most of the parliamentary seats.
All right.
Yes.
Willy, does it change anything? Because this is an agreement that they had between Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga when they were in NASA. Under the current dispensation, the gentlemen are in Azimio. Oka is yet to formalize its entry into Azimio. Is it fair or just to carry their agreement between the two of them to bring it into a movement that cuts across and incorporates parties and political leaders who were not in the initial agreement?
All right. Politics is a game of chess. Yeah. Tactics and keep evolving, and you keep changing depending with how your opponent is playing. And I feel Kalonzo should by now, he should be reading the signs of the time. They are telling him it would be very good for you, this is what I feel, if you go alone and create a third force. Remember the guys who are running against William Ruto and William Ruto running against Raila, they would want a possibility of a third force so that because of so that in case one doesn't get the 50+1 votes, now they can bring you in as a third voice. And I think he needs to pick that. Now the problem is Kalonzo and Oka, I don't believe they have the muscles and the strength to go as the third voice in this country. They don't have it. And so Kalonzo, he's just confirmed that he's a negotiator. There is no space for his negotiations as he used to hold there a while back. And so he needs to play his card right now. He needs to think whether to, and by the way, if he goes to William Ruto, Kalonzo's goose is cooked. The only place he can survive politically is where his three governors from Eastern are right now. But there is no much political weight behind Kalonzo right now. It is a cooked goose for him. So would rather he go to Azimio and tell Raila, hey, let's forget the past, let's forge the way forward, because you already have most of my people on your team.
There's something also
he's struggling to find his space.
There's something also I want us to look at, the timing of this document. It comes just, is it a day, 2 days after the conventions by Jubilee and ODM? Could it be sending a strong message about what could be happening within the Azimio la Umoja movement? Because this document, I want to believe, has been there.
In fact, the only reason he has come out flashing this document is because he understands the other principles of the One Kenya Alliance are busy just about to take off their pens and sign. So he's trying to show them, guys, I signed an agreement similar to the one you're about to sign. And this is where I am. Do you know, him unleashing that document is not for the electorate. He knows the electorate knows about the deceit. But he's trying to sort of tell the One Kenya Alliance principles, Gideon and the rest, that guys, don't be too quick to sign because I have the same agreement and it's doing nothing for me. So I think, I actually totally disagree with you. Kalonzo has two options. He needs to go it alone the whole way and recall how that benefited the Kamba nation back when he signed a post-election agreement with Kibaki, or he actually needs to turn the other side and join UDA. Because his options in Azimio as it is they are very crowded. There are so many, you know, he's not even looking at a seat as a deputy president. He's not looking at any kind of offer such as a high-level ministerial, you know, position. He's probably at the very best being offered what you would call an ambassadorial position in New York or somewhere. Not with all those people there. Remember, you have UPA in Azimio. Remember, you have so many, Azimio is crowded for Kalonzo. And these other people have got so much more to offer than he has. You know, we are forgetting that Jubilee has actually partnered with ODM. So the current government has partnered with ODM. All these cabinet secretaries who are so fearful not to resign because they've been offered position in the Azimio kind of arrangement. Where are you going to take Matiang'i when you tell Kalonzo you are going to give him interior ministry?
No.
So he needs to understand it is crowded there.
Yeah.
And he actually, because he says he is befitting to be a president, he should then use that courage and that, kama anasema kona electorate, he should use it to go the whole way by himself and think of signing a post-election agreement with whoever gets into government, or he needs to now change tact from always supporting people who do not reward you to now supporting William Samoei Ruto.
All right.
So, allow me just to say this.
We have a lot to cover. Very quickly.
Okay, politics is about numbers. What are you bringing on board? Kalonzo of 2017 is not the Kalonzo of now. He has not been able, and he does not have the strength to rally Western behind him right now. So even in UDA, they would ask him, are you going to run for an MP in one of those constituencies? Because what are you bringing on board? The only time he can have a meaningful position, whether in UDA or in Azimio, is being able to now retrieve these governors who already left him. Kitambo, he is a one-man army right now with no political numbers behind him, real numbers. He doesn't have it. And so that is why he's struggling to find his space right now.
All right. According to a statement that Oka released the other day concerning why they are postponing the official submission of documents to join Azimio, is they are giving room to welcome other partners. So a day in politics is a long time. Let's wait and see who are these partners, what could change between now and then before they do that officially. But let's move on. We are heading to a season of nominations as a country, and there is this concern about the amendments to the Political Parties Act that is going to give room for political such coalitions to go it as a joint outfit. This is different from what we have been having before, and concern is, if we have not managed to have peaceful and sort of clean nominations in our country under a specific political party, how are we going to ensure that as a bloc like Azimio or as a bloc as Kenya Kwanza, there's going to be peace, there's going to be tolerance? How do we ensure that is there, in this new arrangement, Gloria?
I think, first of all, these alliances or coalitions or partnerships that we have, it doesn't necessarily mean that because you have a law, you actually have to be limited to it. One way to look at it is, for instance, with Kenya Kwanza, we have ANC, we have Ford Kenya, we have UDA. It is in the interest of all three parties that we actually get majority of the seats in the county assembly and in the National Assembly and in the Senate. So the obvious thing to do would be to have all parties just field candidates, Why should we limit our probabilities by only fielding one candidate, when actually if we field three candidates, as ANC, as Ford Kenya and as UDA, the chances of us winning these seats are higher. So the idea, which I think this is the way it should be taken, is we are in an alliance, yes. Let the strong candidate, if we are conducting individual party primaries within our parties, let each party actually bring their strong candidate. And if at all, when you make the math and you realize that it is advantageous of all three parties to field one candidate so that we don't, divide the votes, then so be it. But if it means that if all three candidates go, the chances is that one of ours will win, it means at one point after elections, you will have a number of elected leaders from ANC, a number of elected leaders from Ford Kenya, then from UDA, and then when you bring them all together in the basket and you count it as a sort of alliance, then you actually have a say against now, Azimio or the rest. So I don't think it should be mind-boggling. I think we should have free and fair nominations on party level. Let Ford Kenya conduct their nomination, UDA conduct their nomination, ANC conduct their nomination, and for Azimio, all their parties that they've lined up, let them all conduct their nominations, and then now we can come to the table with strong candidates and figure out, based on the numbers, whether we need to field one candidate or whether we need to field all three candidates. But the nominations should be really, it should not be that now because we have signed a pact with ANC, for instance, now, UDA doesn't field a candidate there. No, I believe that is not the way.
What do you think, Willy?
We have instances that are telling us where the nominations are headed. I can tell you for a fact that these general elections nominations or the elections is not about candidates, is about a party. Which candidate from which party? Remember, if today in Mount Kenya, a case in point in Murang'a, not Murang'a, Nyeri, they had a candidate who was running for governor, but there was some sort of negotiated democracy. They told him, you cannot beat this incumbent. Remember, the incumbents are the people with money, and they understand the political demographics better because they have been there in power doing what needs to be done. So they told him, you do this, don't run for governor. Support the incumbent who is in UDA for governor and go for a lower position, not necessarily a lower position, but go for a Senate position. And that was negotiated democracy because they did not have the luxury of fighting amongst themselves in a place where they need to show there is unity. And so moving forward, there will be a lot of negotiated democracy, and I can say there is no space and room for jokers, political jokers who are just getting into politics just to try. If you don't have the financial muscles, if you do not have the actual political numbers, trust me, you are just a joyrider in the political party you are supporting, because they will not pick you over a strong candidate or a richer candidate, because the general election is about parties. Which party will have many governors, which party will have many members of parliament, and so they will not waste their time and resources on jokers and weaklings.
When that time comes,
I'm laughing because there's an assumption that new entrants are jokers or weaklings.
No, not necessarily.
And the assumption made there actually is the reason why I keep reiterating that you have more than 50% of the incumbents not coming back.
This is what
power.
I mean.
So you sometimes you might have all the money. I'll give you an example in Kisii. In the last elections, we had Jubilee and ODM, very powerful parties at that time. In my constituency, they both fielded very powerful and very well financially stable candidates for Bobasi constituency. Both candidates failed. Both candidates didn't make it, and in fact the person who won was considered a political joker. You know, our current MP at that time, you cannot say he had any muscle, there's no charm, no whatever, but he actually won. So sometimes I think there's an assumption that having been a veteran politician, it's going to be easy. No, as a matter of fact, the electorate is very awake and very aware that they know what they're looking for. So I think...
allow me to respond to her so that she gets where I'm coming from.
I think new entrants and even those who are not necessarily financially stable should not be underestimated.
Well said,
Gloria, this is what I meant. Nominations are shambolic affairs. It is not an IBC affair. It is a goon affairs. Who can steal the best? And so, remember, William Ruto...
Perhaps in the party is in...
No. In fact, you see, we have 2017 Jubilee nominations. The common denominator of the shambolic nominations of Jubilee is now the head of UDA. How do you know he's telling them to trust them, a man who is not worthy the trustworthiness? And this is the problem, Saf. Let me finish. After the nominations, there will be a lot of ranting and gnashing of teeth. Say, you party ya wizi tulikuwa tumeambiwa, and now they will jump to the other side. And this is what these parties are avoiding.
Allow me to put a cap on that particular note. Of course, in politics, we never really finish. Just put a comma, and we'll be picking up this conversation definitely in the near future. Thank you so much, Gloria, Orwoba, and Willy Kamau, for creating time for us this morning as we were looking at the state of politics. Of course, something that we will be doing, consistently ahead of the 2022 general election.